Hello, all of my beautiful weird number people. Welcome back to another episode, rendition, broadcasting, whatever you would like to call it, edition, I suppose, of data analytics and sports. Something a little different today I've decided to do. I'm going to veer away from sports. You know, the NFL hasn't started yet. It starts this Thursday. College football started, but okay, granted that Georgia-Clemson game was insane. But I'm going to switch things up because it's my channel and I can do what I want. And who said I have to just do sports? I don't have to do that. I can do whatever I feel like doing. Who knows? And today it's not sports. I'm so sorry to disappoint you. It's book review time. Yeah. Good book? No. Is it a book that'll help you with your high school review or a high school book report? Not a chance. Unless your teacher really hates you and makes you read this. No. Today, I'm going to review, personally, my favorite genre of book, a mystery book. It's The Takeover by Stephen W. Frey, F-R-E-Y. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't want to mispronounce it. And I'm going to review the book. I've read it. It's 436 pages. It's a mystery finance book. Not like a self-help book. It's a mystery book, but with a lot of financial and economical elements. It's lyrical, spiritual, if you don't mind me saying. Is this a good book? No. Did I read it? Yes. Do I regret it? Also no. It's not a bad book. It just needs a little oomph. Let me backtrack. Okay. I've read a lot of mystery books, a lot of murder mystery books, a lot of thriller books. I'm talking Alan Folsom, Jason Bourne, and unfortunately a lot of James Patterson. And my ranking system is pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. It's character development, character choices, basic stuff. And to give you an idea as to what I view as a 10 out of 10 book, my two favorite books of all time, I think, are I Invited Her In by Adele Parks and The Day After Tomorrow by Alan Folsom. Those are two books I believe to be 10s out of 10s. They are the cream de la creme, cream of the crop. And this book is not those books. I might even review those two books at a different time. Even though I've already read them and it's been a long time. I literally finished this a half hour ago sitting on my couch and then immediately looked at my girlfriend and I was like, I might, that YouTube channel I have that I post to once every 2 weeks? I'm going to write a review for this book and I'm going to post it on there so that the 5 other people who own this book can know how I feel about this book. And although those 5 people are probably a combined age of 350 and don't use the internet. So regardless, it's 436-page mystery finance book, non-spoilers, as if you care whether or not it's a spoiler-free review. There's a non-spoiler and then a spoiler section. To start the non-spoiler section, I'm going to jump right into it. This book has an insane opening. Great opening. You're going to hear this a lot, but the first 100 pages of this book might be one of the best first 100 pages I've ever read. The author is concise, clear. I have issues with character development as a whole throughout the book. However, the first 100 pages, you could already see actions leading to results, leading to change, or sometimes to not change. And I think that's honestly just as interesting with some of our main characters. And it's interesting that you get the side characters are established via the author Stephen Frey. I'm just going to call him the author from now on because I don't want to keep mispronouncing his last name. The side characters are established. Those characters do stuff to, with, or for our main character, Andrew Falcon, and that's how you learn about Andrew Falcon. The hardest thing to do is with any writer, obviously, is to give someone an idea of a character without being he's strong, he's 6'4", he has black hair. It's you establish the side characters like that because who cares how you establish a side character? Those characters interact with Andrew Falcon, and through their interactions, you get a better sense of the main character. I think that was a really good job. I think that was really smart by the author. The villain's motives are introduced, I think, well enough. I don't he kind of went for like the whole anti-hero, like with Thanos, like, oh, that's wrong to do that, but I understand the motive. I don't. I mean, I see where he was trying to go with it, but I honestly, personally believe that it fell flat. The motives, I don't really root for anyone in this book. I think everyone's a flawed character, but not in like a, oh, they're the main character, but they have flaws, in more of like a, wow, I kind of hate everyone. So that's not a good way to start it. It is interesting, though, with their motives. You can sort of piece together what they're doing before they ever actually tell you. And the way they tell you is never outright. They have like these meetings as an evil group, and then you slowly learn more and more and more. But you can sort of like piece it together and figure it out well before that. So I found that to be interesting. The paid mercenary character is tough because the author wants him to be, and that's the entire reason why he is tough. He is tough because the author says so, is what I have in quotations. The deaths I see a mile away. They're cliche. I mean, come on. I'm not going to spoil the deaths just because this is the non-spoilers, but like, Jesus, man, it's miles away. I see this stuff coming. It's like, okay, you introduce a character. That chapter is about them. Next chapter, back to the main character. Next chapter, different character. Next chapter, back to the main character. Chapter after that, the character dies. Very simple, very formulated, very cliche. I gotta be honest, very cliche. Every female character ages like horseshit. The female characters are not good. It's so obvious that it's so male gaze. It's difficult to not put the book down at times. Even I said the first 100 pages might be one of the best first 100 pages of any book I've read. However, let's see. Falcon resisted the temptation to stare at her legs again. Have you been able to find Reed? Jenny seemed slightly disappointed at the question, as if she had anticipated something else. Or, she had never known a man like Andrew Falcon. He was tall, over 6'2", because no men are 6'2" and above nowadays, with long jet black hair, chiseled facial features, and broad shoulders. Jenny suddenly realized how strongly she was attracted to him, but that was foolish, and she knew it. It's really just the classic, I want a secretary so I can sleep with her sort of book. So I don't like that. Yeah, I have the first 100 pages are riveting. It has its flaws. The female characters describe, obviously, Falcon's physical appearance. The male characters obviously describe Falcon's emotional and mental capabilities. And the next 300 pages, no joke, is just economic and financial jargon. Just endless amounts. If you're and this is where my experience with the book will greatly differ for someone with a different background. If you are a business, finance, accounting major, you would probably you probably wouldn't love the first 100 pages, but you would probably really like the next 300 pages. Maybe. It's kind of boring, but like three-fourths of this book is just Andrew Falcon working on one deal, takeover. Oh, the name of the book. And then the final 36 pages are the plot getting resolved. No joke. Like literally the last 36 pages, the plot gets resolved. Like there was 30 pages left, and I was like, oh my god. Like I'm sitting in this park, and I'm like, oh my god, there's 36 pages left. I'm stopping right here, but I'm like, they're not even close. Like, Falcon hasn't even met any of the bad guys. Like, they haven't even made their appearances known to him yet, and there's 36 pages left. It truly baffling. If I hear one more, he let the cigar smoke linger in the air to resemble his power and testosterone, I'm gonna freaking lose it. The villain group, it meshes together. I can't tell them apart. There's one guy who stands out above the rest, but really it's a villainous amoeba. It's not even a group. The way they're introduced is just putrid. I can't tell them apart. they make this known. They're all just rich old white men, which, hey, I have no problem with that being the villain or the hero in any book, but it needs to go beyond that. And I feel like playing into that stereotype can be done well, but not for a group of villains, because I kind of want to know the group of villains. And it's like, if you're going to introduce me to 7 people who are all in the sevens, don't worry, I'm not spoiling that. That's literally on the back cover. If you're going to introduce me to a group of 7 people who are all villainous and old and rich and powerful, I would kind of like to know more about them than, here's this person, here's what they own, next person. It's like, I would like to know a little bit more. There are really only 3 to 4 characters that aren't soy boy weaklings, because apparently if you're not one of 4 men on this planet, you're just weak-willed man. Like, literally, there are these he's talking about these billionaire moguls, like true like economy game changers, and the author's just like, this other billionaire who is equally as powerful, equally as wealthy, it made him his bitch. It's like, I have never met a billionaire. I'm willing to bet they have a little more confidence than that. Anywho. Yeah, there's no real twist or development, but business scenes are well-ish written. I call it a poor man's Wolf of Wall Street. Take that compliment or insult as you will. I'm not gonna give this book like a number out of 10 quite yet, but I am gonna get to these. Now this is spoilers. Okay, so this is the spoiler part of the book. If you made it this far, I'm going to spoil the book. You now know how I feel about the book without spoilers. I would recommend that you should read it. I bought it for 50 cents. I think that's fair. It's a good book. It's worth the read. If you're going on vacation and you need something to read and you see this book, I would say grab it. It's worth it. It's a little boring, but there's enough important events to where you can easily get through it. And it's big enough to where if you're like an avid reader like me, it will take you some time. And sometimes that's all you can ask for in a book that's 50 cents, is it kills time. Spoilers. Starts off strong. Reed Bernstein, software guy. He comes in, shoots an investor for the company, then himself. Falcon is out $500,000. So right then and there, like, we have a motive. We have conflict. We have a motive. Now we just need a resolution. And it's that right there was where I was like, whoa, okay, damn. You know, this book is, I'm not one who's pro gratuitous violence in any book. I think you have to earn it. Not earn violence, but obviously it has to be written to where it makes sense. And I feel like in the first 100 pages, this guy nailed it with the earning of the like shock factor. And then that falls off a cliff. But Falcon's out $500,000 after leaving Winthrop, Hawkins & Co. Gets a job at NASA, and he hires his former hot but doesn't know it assistant Jenny. Right then and there, it's like, boom, okay, you got your love interest, you've got your conflict, you've got this guy who's broke, needs money, got a job at an institution he doesn't love. We have plot. It's the Big Bang. Here's the plot. We have a plot for Andrew. The plot for him is he is broke, horny. That's it. He's broke and horny. That's what he is. And I don't mean to pocket watch another man, but get your money up, don't get your funny up. Stay woke. Falcon's out, so he gets a job. It's a boring job. He doesn't like it. Carter Filippelli, chairman of the Federal Reserve System, is introduced. Fascinating character. Does nothing. Gets killed. You're going to hear that a lot. Falcon meets Alexis. Works for Granville Winthrop, but we don't know it until, again, 5 pages before the book ends. She's hot. Fascinating character. Does nothing. Gets killed. Buford J. Warren is introduced. He's the president. He does nothing. He does nothing. So to recap, Carter Filippelli chairman of the Federal Reserve System, arguably the most powerful man in the United States. Fascinating character. In a book about finance and the economy, you would think this would be maybe the second or third most fleshed out character. Nope. He's short, he's Italian, and he's short, so you know he dies. He goes fishing in Montana, I believe. Montana or Maine, somewhere like that. He dies, the end. Alexis is this like mysterious woman we know nothing about, like comes into Falcon's life with mysterious circumstances, and he's like suspicious of her, but not like in the way of like, oh my god, is she working for the enemy? Because again, he does not know who the enemy is for the longest time, but really just like this seems oddly convenient. Like how does this happen? Like obviously Falcon is the most handsomest man that ever did walk this planet, but he's like, oh, this is I'm smart enough to realize this is an odd sequence of events. And she's like this super mysterious, like we know nothing about her. She's the only person in the book is closed off as Andrew Falcon is, and she does nothing and gets killed. So essentially, the Sevens, the nefarious Harvard graduate group of people, want to collapse the economy. President Buford J. Warren for insider trading because he is raising their taxes and they want to pass money down to their children. Okay. Odd way to go about it. Not how I would do it personally, but okay. We have a motive for the villain. So we have a motive for the hero, which is he's horny and broke, and we have a motive for the villains, which is their children will not get all of their money. Okay. Here we go. Devon Chambers, a 7, is head honcho at NASA, the company that just hired Andrew Falcon. Dun, 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 dun. You know, you're feeling me. NASA is going to take over, book title, they're going to take over Penmar Chemicals. It's a company, who cares what they do, it doesn't matter. And they're gonna buy this company. And NASA, I think they're a bank or a loaning company or something. They have a lot of capital. They have billions of dollars in capital. And they're going to buy and control and take over Penmar Chemicals. Problem is, the Sevens are waiting for NASA and Devon Chambers, who worked for them, to do this $30+ billion deal and then go public that Penmar is dumping toxic waste. Thus, NASA is broke. They are out $30 billion. They are a bank. No one can withdraw their money. Collapses the economy. Gets the president out. And they put a Republican president who doesn't mind low taxes on inheritance in to the presidency. 200 pages is spent negotiating how much NASA should pay to buy Penmar Chemicals. You are going to hear $75 a share so many times. It's ridiculous. This book is 80% negotiating the price of how much the company should pay to purchase Penmar. It is ridiculous. I'm not exaggerating. First 100 pages, great. Next 200 pages is negotiating the price for how much Penmar should be bought for. It is excruciating. One silver lining, I will say, it is somewhat interesting that we know the plan. And to see Falcon, the hero, walk into that plan and do what he thinks is succeeding was interesting. Now, did the author flesh that out and go into detail? No, of course not. Because somehow Falcon, it was interesting to see Falcon succeed, but really doom himself. You really did feel like, oh, he really is just a puppet. You know, like, oh wow, he really has no idea that he is screwing himself over hard. Like he is destroyed, like he will be the cause of the collapse of the US economy, and he doesn't know it. It's pretty cool. I will give the book that. That was at least fascinating, I would say. Falcon was just a puppet this whole time, and but, you know, does he learn anything from this? Of course not. Why would he do that? He's got 2 hot women after him. Doesn't matter. Falcon outruns a professional killer. Why? Who cares? He dates the two most attractive women ever to exist simultaneously because he's Andrew Falcon. He outsmarts said professional killer and escapes him twice. His whole life, he is wired to constantly be doing something. He left Granville Winthrop and his company to go start his own because he got bored. He then, he's wired to do something. He leaves Granville and Winthrop because he is bored. He goes for Alexis over Jenny because he is bored. He takes the job at NASA for $5 million so that he can then retire in Vermont. I don't understand this man's thought process. He is constantly bored all the time. He's going to nightclubs in New York until 4 a.m. An entire chapter is spent about him smoking a cigar, looking out on the city of New York and being like, oh, this city, it really drains you of life. I don't think I could do this forever. Just so that he could literally the next page be like, I can't wait to do this forever. And in the final page of the book, he's like, it's over. It's finally over. I defeated Granville and Winthrop. Why do I wish I didn't? Oh, and also when he does retire, Jenny is naked except for the thong. So, the main character sometimes just angers me to no extent. How did he get the evidence of the Sevens to the police? Who cares? Why did anyone believe him? Because he's Falcon. Why did Phoenix Gray kill Alexis, who is loyal to Winthrop? The whole book, nothing but loyal. Shut up. What happens to the president? Who cares? Falcon fails with his startup. He learns nothing. Falcon kills a security guard. Learns nothing. It's never discussed. It never comes back to bite him. Falcon fails over and over and over again, and somehow comes out on top. But he failed. And that's the other thing too. The bad guys didn't fail. Republican president's still in charge. Their end goal was simple. Lower inheritance tax. And it worked. They win still, And it's okay, maybe this is the story of an underdog. Maybe. Or maybe it's just convenient. It's just convenient. Is it possible that this whole story surrounding Andrew Falcon is oh, he fails and then he succeeds, but in his success he actually dooms himself only to outsmart everybody and come out on top as the ultimate underdog story? Yes. However, all of his decisions lead me to believe he is just a very lucky individual over and over again. Okay, also, why didn't Alexis kill him? I'm sorry, why did you need to send an assassin? I'm confused. He trusts a random reporter when he doesn't even trust Jenny or Alexis. I am baffled by this development. Okay, I don't understand why Jenny even hangs out with him. I get Alexis because she's ordered to by Granville, but why does Jenny? Why does anyone? He somehow can outrun a professional assassin. An assassin is not faster than Andrew Falcon. That's when I just had to internally just kind of chuckle a bit. He outran an assassin? I'm sorry. No. A professional assassin got dusted by this man. Because he's just that good? I don't understand. Someone help me make this make sense. He outsmarts the killer. And it's just the whole character of Andrew Falcon is one who is basically just never happy, never content, always striving to do something. He is constantly looking for that next big deal, that big dopamine rush. To him, it really is a drug, and he just can't put it down. It's the drug of, oh my God, I always need to be doing something. And is the author trying to tell us a tragedy about Andrew Falcon, about how he acknowledges this about him, and he goes to Vermont finally, and he retires, and he's like, oh my God, I've been so blind, only to then have it be a story of how addiction truly cripples people, because then he flat out says, let me find it, the last page, Falcon's gaze moved to the turquoise water which stretched to the horizon. It was over. Somehow he wished it didn't have to be. Is this a story about addiction and how it ruins lives, and how Andrew Falcon did everything right and he busted, because, I don't love his methods or his motives, but he beat the bad guys. The bad guys were going to cripple the U.S. economy, and they killed a whole bunch of people. They killed Carter Filippelli, arguably my favorite character in this book. And he does all that, and he's like, oh my God, finally, I have the woman of my dreams who is actually loyal to me, unlike Alexis. And I have her at this beach in Vermont, and she's wearing nothing but a thong. And I still can't let this life of mine go. I can't let this side of me go. And I'm like, wow, that could be truly riveting, of like, look at how this lifestyle destroys people. Only it doesn't destroy him. He gets $10 million and an estate in Vermont and a girlfriend who's in nothing but a thong. It undermines the whole, like, it could have been, for all the filler, the strong beginning and all the filler, the author could have told a story of, look at how this lifestyle that he has crushes you, because he essentially is working to become a 7, and then he quits, and then he fails, and he fails, and he fails, and he keeps, but eventually he succeeds, and he takes down the 7s, and he outsmarts them because he's young and handsome and smart, and he does all these things, but he, deep down, he's still a member of the 7. He always will be. He is, like, part of the book was one of his demands to not release the information was $10 million, a farm in Vermont, and to become a 7. He is a 7, and he always will be, because they branded him on the forum. That's also something that the 7s do. But if all that, and the author could have been like, see, look at this guy, thinks he's not a 7, but he is. He doesn't know it, but he is. Look at how destructive this lifestyle of greed and passing everything down it just destroys the human psyche. But it's not that. It could have been. It could have been that. But instead, it was just a guy who failed over and over again, kept getting opportunities, and next thing you know, he's got a hot girlfriend and nothing but a thong on the beach with $10 million in the bank and a house that he didn't have to pay for. And it's like, this could have been such a good tale of the tragedy of greed in the US, but instead it just became this guy. Last name Falcon. They call me Falcon because I'm cool and tall. It could have been so much more. This book could have been actually a really good, like, indictment, yes, or expose even of greed and power hungriness, whatever, in America. But instead, it's not that. It's not that, and that's unfortunate, because it could have been that. And I think if it was that, I would be giving it a much better score. But unfortunately, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. Yeah. It was a book. Was it good? No. Was it bad? Kinda. It wasn't great. It had its moments. It had good moments, but I would say overall, if you're about to hop on a plane and this book is $2, get it. It's worth it. Because once you hit page 200, you're going to be landed anyway. And so you read all the good stuff. You could read the first 100 pages and the last 100 pages, and honestly, it would make sense. I feel like you would get the best part of the book. If this book was 200 pages, this would be such a good book. Such a good book. But I just feel like it's too much filler. There's way too much filler, you know? Could have been a lot more. Could have been a lot more. That makes me upset, but that's okay. If anyone else has read this book, tell me what you think. It's not bad. Who knows, I might read more from the author in the future. Maybe not. But I do feel like this had potential. Had a lot of potential. Unfortunately, it did not see that potential to its ending point. Anywho, now I'm reading Born Identity. I have tried to read that book multiple times when I was super young, and I could never finish it. I would get halfway through, but then I was in like 6th grade, so I was like, all right, I'm not going to finish it. I'm done. I'm going to go read Aragon. But I'm going to give it one last shot. I've tried twice now to read it and finish it. I'm going to give it one last shot and review that. Thank you so much for listening to my review of The Takeover by Stephen W. Frey. Stephen W. Fry, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Thank you all again so much for listening. Hopefully next time it's back to sports, but who knows? Maybe not. It's my channel. I can do what I want.